I don't have time for this, Mama. I'm in the middle of a meeting, Tunde whispered into his phone, staring at the glass wall of the conference room. His colleagues were already seated, laptops open, waiting for the presentation he had prepared for weeks. His future at the firm rested on this pitch. On the other end, his mother's voice quivered. Tunde, it's about your brother. The line went silent after that. For a second, the noise of the city outside, the honking cars, the shouting hawkers, the endless hum, faded. He stood frozen, phone in hand, unable to breathe. Tunde's life was fast. He woke up to deadlines, ate his meals in traffic, and measured his worth in salaries and promotions. He had left his family house years ago, promising to come back often, but city life had swallowed him whole. Calls from home became shorter, visits fewer. His younger brother, Sola, had always been the opposite, quiet, dreamy, the kind of boy who could sit under a mango tree sketching faces for hours. Their father had dismissed him as unserious, and Tunde, ever practical, had agreed. Art doesn't feed anyone in this country, he once told him. But now, Mama's voice repeated in his ear, he's gone. The words dropped like stones. That night, Tunde found himself on the rooftop of his apartment, staring at the endless sprawl of city lights. The noise below was still alive, sirens, laughter, music, but inside him, there was only silence. Memories of Sola flooded in. The boy who followed him everywhere as a child, the teenager who begged him to attend his first art exhibition at a small gallery, the young man who smiled even when ignored. Guilt pressed heavily on Tunde's chest. He remembered that last phone call months ago. Sola had been excited about a commission, his first paid work. Bro, I want you to see it. Just pass by, even for 10 minutes. I don't have time for childish drawings, Sola, Tunde had replied, brushing him off. That was the last time they spoke. At the funeral, Tunde stood among faces that looked like his but felt like strangers. He listened as people spoke of Sola's kindness, his art, his ability to see beauty in places others ignored. Paintings lined the church walls, his paintings. Bright, alive, full of stories Tunde had never cared to read. One particular canvas caught his eye. It was of two boys, one slightly taller, pulling the other up from a riverbank. The taller one looked just like him. Underneath, in small handwriting, were the words, "For my brother, who taught me strength." Tunde's knees almost gave way. He had taught Sola nothing but silence, yet Sola still saw him as strength. Tears came, uninvited, hot and bitter. Back in the city, life continued its rhythm, uncaring. But Tunde was different now. He sat at his desk one evening, the same desk where he used to bury himself in spreadsheets, and opened one of Sola's sketchbooks Mama had given him. The pages were filled with faces, colors, and stories. At the back was a note in Sola's handwriting. One day, my art will speak louder than I ever could. Tunde closed the book and whispered into the silence. It already has, brother. From then on, he carried the sketchbook everywhere, in meetings, on buses, even at the bar with friends. Sometimes he opened it just to remind himself that success wasn't only about climbing ladders, but about being present before it's too late. The city didn't slow down for him, but he learned to pause within it. To answer calls, to check in, to look people in the eyes when they spoke. He started volunteering at a community art center, funding supplies in Sola's name. When people asked why, he simply said, because some voices shouldn't die unheard. And though the streets remained crowded, the nights noisy, and the deadlines endless, Tunde carried a new rhythm inside him. One painted in colors his brother left behind.